Is live. Three, two, and action. Okay, so welcome everybody. Aw, hi Marcia. Hello, my soul sister. Hi, Claire. Awesome. I love seeing you guys randomly and in amazing ways. So, I wanted to talk today about your body's style of communication. So, I've been doing this class for 30 days, and it has been, well, we're halfway through, and it has been amazing. And we really are getting down to a lot of people were asking for the topic, and the series is called Hey Body. And people are like, I want to be able to better communicate to my body. I want to be able to better hear what my body's saying. And so I wanted to kind of come on today and have this conversation about, do you know your style of communication? And so what I want to start out by saying is every single one of us, this is my belief, has a huge point of view, like meaning every is capable of being very psychic, very intuitive, listening to our guts, following our intuition. And a lot of times we'll have these moments where like, oh, I knew it. Should have listened to my intuition. Oh, I like, how many times have you been driving down the road and you get a hit to like turn off somewhere and it doesn't make any sense? And then you hit traffic and you're like, oh, I was being communicated to turn, to go a different route, to take like a detour instead of my normal way. Well, the body's doing that to us all the time. It's communicating all the time, all the time, all the time. And if we are listening in one way, but that's not the way we're being communicated to, then we cross wires and we think we're, one, the body's not communicating, or two, we're not listening or we're not hearing it. And the truth is that most of us are programmed not to see, and we're programmed not to hear. So we only see what we want to see. Looking for evidence, right? I'm guilty of that. And we only hear what we want to hear. But rarely do we see things as they are, and do we hear things as they're being communicated. So, like when you look at a piece of art, five of us could look at the same piece of art and see five very different things, right? Five of us could hear somebody communicating or giving a speech or talking, and we all get really excited, but all five of us would hear different things. We would hear what we could hear in the moment, either that inspired us or pissed us off or opened the door to a new reality or whatever it is. And so your body is communicating in so many different ways. And the question is not, are you listening? But more the question is, how do you tune to the channel that your body's talking to you in? So some people, their bodies communicate in colors or sounds or light or flashes. Or I know somebody who sees, like when they're getting an intuitive hit, they see like sparkles, right? Some people, they see life in technicolor and pictures. Some people, their bodies communicate in feelings and sensations. So goosebumps or yawning or hair standing up on the back of the head, or like you got punched in the gut, or the heart opens. And so there's no right or wrong way. Sylvia says, good effing question. But it's literally, okay, how do I tune to the channel in which my body is most comfortable communicating to me? So I've known this for a very long time. For me personally, my body has always communicated in sensations, in goosebumps, in cold and hot and sweats, in like I get like sensations here, or I can feel stuff back here. And I've never made the sensations in my body personally. So if I have a pain in my shoulder blade, I don't go, oh my God, what's wrong? Right? I go, oh, the body's communicating. And when I was a little kid, everything was on my intuitive gut instinct. And I remember as in high school, I was a really good soccer player. I was a really good volleyball player. I loved sports. It's where I excelled. I was kinesthetically and physically just aware. And it's one of the areas of my life where I really was comfortable using my intuition. And my coach used to say to me, Catherine, like it's so amazing. Can you teach people how you're doing that? He's like, I don't know how you do it, but you're literally, you go to the ball before the ball's there. And I was like, yeah, I always know where the ball's going to be. And so I was a top goal scorer. I was like, I was a really good athlete when I was, playing volleyball. I knew where the ball was going. I knew where to put the ball in order to make a point, right? And so it was one of my capacities, and it was something I always trusted, but I never questioned it. And so my invitation to you today, if you're listening to this and you're like, I would like to know what channel my body keeps broadcasting because I feel like I'm listening to a static channel, right? And so I want to invite you to consider that there are a million different ways in which the body communicates to you. It could communicate to you in hot or cold. It could communicate to you through visuals, could communicate to you through sensations, through feelings, through goosebumps, through emotions, through a tightening in your throat. It could communicate to you in sounds. There's a movie called August Rush. If you guys haven't seen that movie, it's so good. It's so good, right? And so I love, Sylvia, what does that mean? So sunglasses? I'm going to interpret, right? And so oftentimes when we don't hear and we don't see, we invent stories. Is that an aha? So sometimes when we don't see and we don't hear, we invent stories. So cool. Ooh, I like that. So cool. So cool it is. I love it. And so it's like if you don't see and you don't hear, or you can't see and you can't hear because you're looking for something that isn't there, or because you're looking for what isn't there to be there. Like, it's like this crazy thing. So we tend to, with our mind, fill in the gap with stories. We tend to make ourselves comfortable and make things up. Right? So if I said to you, right, like, what color is the wall in my house? You would say, oh, well, the color I see in your house is cream or yellow, whatever you can, like, because screens are different and our computers are different, colors are different. And it's like, well, maybe the color of my house in the walls of my house is yellow, but maybe it's just that wall. It's only the wall you can see. And so when we can't see, we make up stories. We fill in the gaps, right? So there was a woman once who was looking to be validated. And the way that she was raised is she was raised with a mother who was always yelling at her. So with the way that she received attention and the way that she knew she existed is by her mother being kind of intense, mostly angry, through yelling, through, that kind of energy. And so if someone were to say to her, oh my gosh, you're so amazing, she literally couldn't hear them. Like, have you ever had a compliment and someone said, did you hear that? You're like, no, what? And they're like, you just got a really cool compliment. My second husband, right? My son's dad, we were together for 10 years and we worked together for the first 3 years of being together. And at the time, I was really struggling with my self-esteem. I didn't feel pretty. I didn't feel sexy. I was always judging my body. I was always like working out and struggling with my relationship with food, which I don't do that anymore, thanks to these tools and thanks to what? Communicating with the body. And so one day I was complaining to him. I didn't feel pretty. I didn't feel sexy, like blah, blah. And he's like, oh my God, like he was getting frustrated. And I'm like, what? I don't. And he's like, I have never been around someone who receives more freaking compliments in one day. And it blows my mind that you literally cannot hear them. And I was like, what are you talking about? He goes, I've heard at least 10 customers compliment you today. And I was a bartender and waited tables, and he was the manager at a, high-end fancy restaurant in Boulder. And And I was like, what are you talking about? People aren't complimenting me. He's like, oh my, and I literally said that. Someone turned around, gave me a compliment, and he goes, did you hear them? And I was like, no, what are you talking about? He's like, oh my God, I'm gonna kill you. How can you not hear that? How can you not know you're beautiful and sexy and amazing and all those things? And so we tend to not be able to hear what doesn't match our internal radio station. So if our internal radio station is like, blah, 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 you're a piece of crap, blah, 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 you'll never measure up for anything, blah, 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 you'll never be successful, blah, 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 you can never lose weight, blah, like if your radio station internally is dialed to a pretty not so kind communication style, and all of a sudden the universe is trying to deliver you messages to prove that maybe your radio station is old, maybe it's time to change the channel, maybe it's time to do something about it, but you can't hear what doesn't match your reality. You can't see what doesn't match your reality. And so my friends, in order to be able to listen to your body's way of communicating to you, you got to get rid of the old story, and you got to listen with a blank canvas. So years ago, I was in grad school to study somatic psychology, and the way that we were learned and taught in school was to meditate before any private session, to quiet the mind, even if it was just for 3 minutes, and listen to the body. And the body would be like, talking really loudly. My body shows me pains in other people's bodies before I see a client, before I get on a group coaching call. I'm like, oh, this is going to be an interesting call today, because it's constantly feeding me in sensations. Now, once in a while, it'll communicate in my dreams, and I'll wake up remembering my dreams. Once in a while, I'll get a sound or a flash or a color, or just like I feel like sparkle. So every time that your body's communicating, it's like, do you have good parking karma? That's one of the ways in which start to pay attention to, how did you know that you were going to get a good spot? And you're like, well, I just knew. I'm like, that's your body's way of communicating to you. How did you know what meal to order at a restaurant that was exactly what you wanted? That's your body's way of communicating. How did you know you shouldn't have ordered what you ordered? So one of my little tricks that I do in restaurants is I don't go out much anymore, but prior to COVID, I went out a lot because I didn't cook. Now I cook all the time. And I would always say in my head, let the waiter, let the waitress, let the server hear what my body wants louder than what my words are saying. And I cannot tell you like how many times I've gone into a restaurant, I've ordered something, and the waiter gave something different. And I was like, oh, that's actually what my body wanted, but I overrid what it wanted. But guess what? The waiter heard me. It just didn't hear my words. It heard the energy of my body, right? Coincidence? No. That's the magic of the way in which your body's always communicating. So how did you know to make a left-hand turn when you should have turned right? Right? And so my friends, you can always communicate, hey, body, show me the money. Hey, body, what clothes would make you more money today? What inspiring things do you want us to do? And so start paying attention. Are your hands vibrating? Can you feel it in your throat? Do you see colors? Are you a texture person or a touch person, right? And so your body is constantly tuning into different radio stations to give you different information. And so your job is, how do you clear your mind, clear your trash, clear your history, delete your hard drive, delete all the old programs, and so that you can be open to hearing and seeing. Like this weekend, I was driving, and all of a sudden I went, oh my God, I've never seen that house before. And it was a dilapidated old house. The trees on the property were dying because no one lives there. And I was like, and I've driven on this road like hundreds of times. And I was like, how did I never see this house before? Right. And so that's what when you see new information, when you hear new information, that's your clue that you're expanding your awareness, you're expanding your consciousness, you're getting rid of the old trash, and you're opening up the dialogue, and you're opening up the sort of the canvas to be able to put yourself into a greater receiving position. And when you can receive and you're not strictly looking for the results, then you will be guided and led, and you will begin to trust the way that your body is giving you information all the time. Is that cool or what? Yeah. So that's all I have for you guys today. I just wanted to come on and do a live and say hello and tell you that I adore you. If this inspired you, please check them out. If you want more information, you can always go to the website, catherinemcintosh.com. We always have group classes and stuff. And we're going to be launching soon a free masterclass, really exciting, on the 5 words not to use if you want to lose weight. So I'm pretty excited. So if this inspired you, leave a comment, leave an aha, share it with a friend, tag somebody. And I'm so grateful that you're here, and we'll see you next time. So until then, don't make yourself wrong if you can't hear and you can't yet see. But guess what? Just open the body's invitation and say, show me how you're communicating with me. And it will. For some of you, it might be communicating in anger. For some of you, it might be communicating in sickness. For some of you, it might be communicating in weight gain. It doesn't have to be fluffy in order to communicate. It's just trying to get your attention. So that's all I got for you. I adore you so much. I'll see you soon, and bye for now.